Good afternoon, everybody. I am Kaustubh Chaudhary. You can call me Casey, founding EIR at Peach Global. We'll begin. Before we start the opening remarks, we are going to invite my founding EIR, Axel Tillman, former US CEO of Fund of Funds and Mass Challenge board member, to say a few words about the California Inclusivity Fund. He's working with senior level people from the states. So Axel, just a couple of minute highlight on the progress.
Okay. Thank you very much, Casey. Good afternoon. I'm happy to see everybody here. Lots of old friends, lots of new friends. And I was giving an update about our initiative for the California Inclusivity Project and Fund. And as you see behind me, on May 1st, during the Milton Conference, we do have actually a roundtable about inclusivity, and we will be presenting the project of California Inclusivity Fund, a $100 million venture capital fund that we are raising, hopefully with a lot of participation from IBM. No. And yeah, so we have invited guests from major corporations. We have the mayor of Irvine coming and presenting, which has very interesting things to say. And we have two other companies that will be presenting. One is called the Create Impact. The other one is the National Black Entrepreneurship Project. With that said, Casey, open up the event. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Axel. Thanks for being such a friend, philosopher, and guide. Today, we just want to start with what Pitch Global and Pitch Global CVC is all about. Our core value is empowering mostly senior entrepreneurs. So if you are junior, we will mentor you one day, but we feel a lot of fund, lot of effort is there. Entrepreneurial education is for entry level, which is good. We know that, but 6 years ago, we were selected by state of California to mentor entrepreneurs who can create jobs. And many of them are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, already successful. They have gone public, or they have had M&As, and these people also need mentoring, and they don't know where to go. So Axel and I and some of our other EIRs have been pretty successful by creating a circle of trust so that they can mentor each other and uplift one another. So also, why Pitch Global? Why leadership? What are we just throwing the word? No, because we have done a lot of leadership training with people like TDK Ventures, because we feel that corporate venture capital may still invest in your company if you're not 100% fit, but if they feel you're a potential leader. There are many leaders in Silicon Valley who became CEOs by starting startups like Adobe, like others. They were very successful in their startups and they were acquired, and now they are running all these huge companies. So we want to push leadership training skills, and we are already doing that for over a year with TDK Ventures, who's going to be here and interview Vish Mishra, former head of Tycon and very well-connected person. On that note, right now, we have a special guest from California GoBiz, Governor's Office of Economic Development, who's going to inaugurate this event, and also at the end give award, Platinum Impact Award, to Korea's SK Group. We have picked them as the first worthy awardee for uplifting Silicon Valley ecosystem, because not because they have committed to President Biden that they'll invest $59 billion with a B in the next 6 years. They have already invested almost $500 million in Bloom Energy of San Jose, and they did $5 billion deal with them, taking them around the world. I think that's as good a example of economic impact as any. So they'll be here as well in an hour or two, and will be part of the program. So right now, I'm gonna introduce Abby Quayle, from Director of Innovation from San Jose State, who is going to introduce Claire from Governor's Office. After that, she will introduce two other people, leaders from San Jose State. One is Mohammed, who is Vice President, and the other is Mash. I didn't know his name was Mash, but hey, I learned. He never told me. Mash Ashby, who is also, all three of them would share a few words on how San Jose State, backed by California Governor's Office, is uplifting the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So on that note, Abby, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Casey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SJSU. We're so glad to have you today, and it should be a very exciting day to see some nice pitches and to get to know one another, because as you know, it takes a village to help entrepreneurs succeed. And that is why San Jose State University is very happy to announce new initiatives that we've put in place over the past year. And it's all branded under our Startup Programming brand. And it starts with the Silicon Valley Small Business Development Center, which many of you here are already familiar with. If you're not, please come see me. Please come see our director, Edgar Cerrone, who's in the back of the room. He's done a fantastic job of assembling some of the best advisors in the Valley, and some of which are here today as well. And you have access to one-on-one advising sessions. And we also host workshops every third Wednesday right here in this library over in the SJPL workspace. But stay tuned. We might actually be using this room in the near future because our attendance has rapidly grown and we're starting to outgrow our original space. For the past year that the SVSBDC has been in existence, we've advised over 350 individual clients to generate over $31 million in economic impact here in Santa Clara County. So thank you to every one of our SBDC advisors, to Edgar in the back. Kim Tung, who is also a member of SBDC, is here today. Please come see us. Don't be shy. We also have our technology transfer operation at SJSU, and we are aggressively and rapidly building our patent portfolio that we could match with entrepreneurs that are looking for a technology to bring to the marketplace. And we also are very excited about our brand new startup incubator that we launched right here in this room only 6 months ago this week. And our launch director, Mash, is here, who's going to tell us a little bit more about that. So I'm very, very happy that you're all here, and I'm very excited to work with all of you. I would like to introduce Claire Whitmer from the Governor's Office of the Small Business Advocate, who's going to talk to us about how the governor is investing in our community.
My name is Claire Whitmer. I am the Northern California Regional Advisor for the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. And we are here today to connect founders with investors and to talk about everybody's favorite subject, money. And I'm very happy to welcome you here in the heart of Silicon Valley today to a celebration of California's crown jewel, our innovation sector, and to explain some of the investments that the governor is making in this sector. I represent the 32 counties of Northern California, from Silicon Valley to the Oregon border, but I come from the tech industry, and this is my home in the Bay Area. So one of California's key natural resources is brain power. And as we can see, all parts of that brain power supply chain right here in this room. And it turns out that it's not so different in the government. In policy and program implementation, some of the same rules of entrepreneurship apply. Don't panic, clearly define your problem set, and above all, don't lose control of your IP. And that's what the governor is trying to do. My office, the Office of the Small Business Advocate, is best known for its support of the moms and pops. And that's because we were the administrators of the biggest direct relief program in the country to follow in the wake of COVID-19, $4 billion for the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. And that money, most of it went to restaurants and hairstylists and CPAs and all of the businesses that COVID helped us to recognize so clearly as the economic backbone of our economy. But at the same time, the governor recognized the need for technical assistance across the spectrum of our entrepreneurship economy. The mandate of our office is to support that spectrum, the coffee shop owner and the biomedical device manufacturer and the electric car changing station installer and the solar person that I met earlier in the hallway, all of that. in short, all of you. And I always say that our judo move is our support for our small business center network, the SBDCs that were talked about earlier today, and who are in the room with you to advise you. No cost, one-to-one counseling and training across the state. If you do nothing else today, make sure that you connect with an SBDC advisor. At the same time, the state of California has created its first venture capital fund. So that is $200 million in U.S. Treasury funds coming through the state small business credit initiative and being administered by my other GoBiz colleague, iBank. So the investment from the governor in this sector at the same time that we are supporting moms and pops is tangible, substantive. And it derives from that recognition that entrepreneurship is the secret sauce of California. An ecosystem that democratizes access to capital. A room that so well represents California's formula for success. So on behalf of GoBiz, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak here today. I want to thank all of the participants. I want to thank all of the founders, including the female founders and the LGBTQ founders and the Black founders. I want to recognize, thank San Jose State for hosting this event today. So thank you very much. And anyone who has questions about Accelerate California, I will be here all day. So just come find me. Thank you.
So on that note, I'm going to invite someone who is from a city or country where it is most difficult for persuading startups to relocate to Silicon Valley. But after today, I think some of them may change opinion. We are Pitch Global, and we are very fortunate to have one of the three global heads of a Samsung fund, which is Samsung Catalyst Fund. We have here David Dede Goldsmith, who's come all the way from Israel, and he will be interviewed on the various approaches to Samsung, how the three funds differ and converge. And he will be interviewed by our friend, philosopher and guide, Jonathan J.C. Charles, Director of Investing of Samsung Catalyst Fund, and very dialed into the local and San Jose ecosystem. So on that note, I hand over the floor to JC, and let's give special thanks from our special guest from Israel. And I hope we have to see one or two Israel companies relocating and coming into the accelerator, which SJSU is launching next year. All right.
By the way, I'm based on United flights, not in Israel or in.
He's out here a lot. So actually, let me. Great, thanks everybody for having us today. Dede Goldschmidt, welcome. And so I see Dede about 50% of the time. He's out here a lot, as I just mentioned, and we wanted to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak about Samsung Catalyst Fund. Dede, we got a quick intro from Costa, but tell us about your quickly about your path on what brought you to Samsung Catalyst Fund, and why are you here today?
Okay, so I joined Samsung 7.5 years ago. Before that, I spent 15 years in financial VCs, and before that, I had a real job working for an actual company, doing operating roles, not just investing people's money. I joined Samsung 7.5 years ago to lead the investment of the Samsung Catalyst Fund in Israel. And after 2 years, I was fortunate to be given the opportunity to lead Europe and Israel. And then a couple of years later, I was given the opportunity to lead the global team, which is quite exciting and really creates the opportunity to see the differences and similarities between all these different geographies.
Yeah, so thanks, Dede. So, on the slide, when we all came in, it said CVC, Corporate Venture Capital. And of course, Samsung Catalyst Fund is a corporate venture capital team. Before we get into the details of the Catalyst Fund, could you kind of take a step back and sort of, give us your opinion or some commentary around the nature of corporate venture capital in general? Motivations, why? Here's a good question. Why corporate venture capital?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Actually, when we say CVC, they're not all made equal, right? And there are many differences on different dimensions. One of the most trivial dimensions is the motivation, right? There are some CVCs that are purely strategic, and some CVCs that have more of a financial focus, or perhaps the corporate is allocating some financial resources just to make more money through ventures. So when engaging with the CVC, it's important also to understand what's the motivation and what's driving them. By the way, the Samsung Catalyst Fund, we're somewhere in the middle, right? So we always operate with a dual bar. There's always a Samsung angle. But also we use the financial metric bars, not just because we're driving for profit, but also because in our mind, companies that are VC fundable, high quality, that could generate great returns are probably the strongest. And these are the companies we want to collaborate with. Then there's another very important dimension when comparing different CVCs. Sometimes the CVC is like the extension of the R&D of the organization. And many times these funds operate in, we coin it inside out, right? So there's a knowledge inside of what's missing, and they go and try to source it outside, and they leverage the CVC to build a relationship. We take actually the completely opposite approach, and later when I describe a bit our fund, it will be made clear why. But we operate, as we call it, outside in. So we basically look at what's going on the outside and try to bring that into Samsung. So it's not driven by like business unit specific requests, but more, what's going on out there and where is the opportunity for Samsung to take a play and to collaborate.
Great, thanks for that. And so speaking of the fund, let's double tap on that. Can you talk about, the focus and how Samsung Catalyst Fund operates? An entrepreneur might ask, what are you looking for? What do you invest in?
Good question. Yeah, we keep discussing it every week. So we're a multi-stage evergreen fund. Evergreen in the sense that when we have exits, we actually can recycle the returns and reinvest them. We're deep tech, investing into deep tech infrastructure and data-enabled platforms, and we have multiple domains of investment. So invest in data center and cloud infrastructure. AI is a big theme for us. Networking, 5G, automotive, sensors, and frontier technologies such as quantum computing and things like that. So it sounds like fairly broad. It is very broad, but it can also be narrow because the way we operate, we develop themes. So we're very thematic. We try not to be too opportunistic. So it's not like we just met a company out of the blue and, hey, let's consider any investment. It may happen, by the way, but we try to be more systematic. So we develop thesis